So basically what we did earlier, the lab we have set up, the machine creation services, how to deploy hypervisors, whatever the activities we have performed, right? So those activities are part of practical things. But this session I have scheduled for a theoretical and scenario based questions that may be asked by the interviewer at the time of interview. So basically this particular session is totally focused on the for the interview perspective, right? So initially, as I told you guys earlier, so let me open one more document here. So what we did step by step, the prerequisites we have covered. We have installed and configured the delivery controllers and other core components. Then we have configured the hypervisor. We have created the Citrix or Gen desktop site. Then we installed virtual delivery agents. We have created the machine catalogs. We have created the delivery groups, then storefront configurations. Then we have also tested out our deployment, like how user can access their resources with their end user computing devices, right? So please do remember that sequence. In sequence, what we did, right? So if you guys facing some issues while creating lab by your own, so what you have to do, you just have to follow the sequence what I mentioned here, right? So I'm also posting that thing in chat box so everyone can copy the sequence. Also I will text you on WhatsApp as well, no issue in that. So the practical thing we have already configured. We know each and every terms, like what are the machine catalogs, what are the different kind of things, multiple things we have covered up, right? But when it comes to the interview point of view, so for the interview perspective, what we have to do, we have to cover up some theoretical part to answer, right? Because we cannot answer each and everything practically. If someone asks you what is machine catalog, so you cannot uh, you know tell the interviewer like you have to right click over there and then you can create those kind of answers, will not be entertained, right? So for the same, I've created one presentation. The same file I already shared with you guys, right? But I have done some modification in that file. Whatever the unnecessary part which was there, I have removed each and every unnecessary topics from it. Okay, so what I will do, I will reshare that document to you guys. So before coming to the what is FMA, just forget about the FMA, that I will let you know after the basic things. So here, from here, so just forget about the FMA. Okay, basically it's a flex cart management. So just forget about this term, and the question will be there for you, like explain the core components of for Citrix MCS creation or PBS creation, right? So the core components what we have covered up, right? So first we have covered up the delivery controller. So basically if I talk about the delivery controller, so basically delivery controller, it is a centralized management console. Here it is. It is a centralized management console which is responsible to communicate each and every component separately for the queries, whatever queries has been received from a storefront server or from the administrator or from any other resources, right? So basically delivery controller is a centralized server, or you can consider it as a CPU or as a brain for entire data center for Citrix, right? So this is the basic definition of delivery controller in simple words, right? But as you can see here, the delivery controller is a central management component for Gen app and Gen desktop site. Each site must have two or more delivery controllers. Why? For backup and redundancy perspective. Like if anyone goes down, in that case we can shift the entire operations to secondary or another delivery controller, right? So in our test lab we have created only one delivery controller. Why? Just because of lagging of the hardware resources. But in production we will always get more than two delivery controllers for backup and redundancy perspective, right? So basically, if we talk about the the working of the delivery controller, so as you can see here, the delivery controller manages the state of desktop, starting, stopping them, as per the demands or as per the commands, right? When we are working on the storefront server, like the URL where it is. So earlier we have created one delivery controller. So I'm not sure my delivery controller is powered on or not. Let me check the URL. Okay, so this is our delivery controller and this is my storefront server, right? So how delivery controller process the request? The question is that here. So this is my web URL for storefront. Let me paste it over here. Okay. I think it is not working because my laptop is not connected in my LAN actually. So no worries. I'm working over Wi-Fi. So basically, when any user log into storefront server, after that user will get the resources, the application or desktop what we have published for him. So once user clicks on that particular desktop icon, what it will do, it will automatically restart or power on the virtual machines which are hosted on the hypervisor. So that is a delivery controller task to process the request from end user. Like if end user asking to power on this machine by clicking on the icon, so delivery controller forward that request to hypervisor to make it power on. That's it. And same kind of activities has been managed by delivery controller. So if just suppose as an administrator, we are managing, we are creating the machine catalogs, or when we are creating the machine catalogs, right? So we are creating the machine catalog from delivery controller or Citrix Studio, but that particular machine catalog actually getting deployed on the hypervisor. So we are getting one centralized console, that is Studio on delivery controller, and with that Studio we are creating machines on the hypervisor, right? So that is delivery controller task to perform all the operations. So next core component is site database. So as we have configured SQL Server 2019 for delivery controller or for Citrix site, so basically, site database is very important component for Citrix. Why? To store the configurations like user settings and user configuration. What access we have given to the users, what desktop we have published to end user, and whatever the application and configuration and role we have given to that user. All those logs will stored into the database, right? So uh, further, we have three database available in Citrix, right? So when we was creating the site, I already explained you guys three database was created at that time, right? So anyone remember the name of all those three databases? Anyone?
Yes. The first one is site,
Mm-hmm.
second monitoring, third is logging.
Right, right. So basically, we are creating three database for Citrix. First one is site. So the role for site database is to store all the configurations which are related to site, like how we have configured the site, what is the site name, what is the IP address of site. So let me try to show you practically how database has been created, because let's see if it's connects to my not here. where it is SQL and the management studio. Basically, my database is on this server, but I have installed SQL management studio on my delivery on my domain controller. And let me check the ping. Okay, so it's communicating with my DBC, so it can connect the database. Let's wait for it. So basically, three databases are there. First one is site, second one is monitoring, and third one is logins, right? So whatever the configuration we have configured for the site, like the hypervisor, what we have connected to site, and how many machines we are creating into site, those kind of logs will be stored into site database. If coming to the monitoring part, uh, you know, we are talking about the monitoring. So if we talk about the monitoring means that particular database is responsible to store the monitoring logs. Like how we can monitor the things, like we can monitor the memory utilization, CPU utilization, or hardware utilization. So those kind of hardware performance related logs, all those logs will be into the uh, monitoring database, right? And third one is for logging. So logging in the sense when user logging in, what user performing, what action, those kind of logs will be there. So here SQL server is open. So as you can see, my server name is DDC, and that is my instance name for SQL. So let's connect it. So we have created the database by automated process, but here are the database name actually. I have also configured PBS as well. So I have one more database for PBS. Okay. So these are the three database, very, very important. Logging is for user logging details, what users doing when users logging, when users are logging off, when users rebooting the machine. Those kind of logs will be into this indoor logging. And indoor is just my site name. Okay, so please do not confuse. Okay, just remember logging, monitoring, and site monitoring. As I told you, whatever the hardware monitoring will be there, all those kind of hardware utilization related logs will be there, and site for site configuration logs,
Sir,
right? So
hello,
yeah,
hello.
yeah,
सर वॉइस ड्रॉप कर रहा है बीच में आपका
sorry.
वॉइस ड्रॉप हो रहा है आपका वॉइस कट के आ रहा है बीच में
Okay, okay, voice, let me check my connectivity. Give me a moment. Okay, right now I'm connected with my mobile hotspot. Is it proper now or still lagging? Guys, am I audible?
यस सर
Okay, so
Yes,
these
it's
are the
perfect.
logs. Okay, so these are the logs. So anyone of you guys have ever worked on SQL server, like how to take a backup of database? Anyone? No, no worries. So, it's our task to, regularly back up the, SQL server database, or, in MNCs, you will get a separate SQL administrator who will be responsible to take all those backups. So just for demonstration only, if I want to back up this database like in the logging, so what I have to do, I have to right click, I have to go to the task, I have to click on to the backup. And then what I have to do, I have to provide a path. So by default path is C program files and blah blah blah. You can add some random path, and what you have to do, you have to click on OK. Okay, so whatever path you will select, you will get that backup file like in this extension, like in Citrix indoor logging.bak, right? So this is for backup for SQL. So just suppose in a real scenario when your SQL server goes down due to XYZ region, so what you can do, you can just copy those backup files and you can upload those backup files to another SQL server, right? So in that way your database will be up, right? Okay, so we are not digging into the deep that much because you are preparing for L1 right now, not for L3. Okay, so now next we have covered up the database. So next is VDA. So can anyone explain? We have installed a VDA client in multiple machines. What VDA is? Anyone? You can answer whatever you understood, right? So I'm not asking for the exact definition from you guys. I can understand that you are preparing, so it is good actually. Whatever you
virtual
know,
delivery agent.
yeah. What is that, and what is the task for that virtual delivery agent?
Without delivery agent, we cannot make machine catalog.
Yeah, that is completely fine. So basically, virtual delivery agent, it is an application which we have to install on each physical or virtual machine. Machine could be physical or virtual. We have to install VDA agent on that particular machine, and that VDA agent is responsible to create communication between that particular machine to delivery controller and to deliver application and desktop, right? So also VDA responsible to register that particular machine with the delivery controller. So that is VDA task. Okay. So how we have configured VDA? First, we have to create one virtual machine. We have to take this machine into our domain. Then after we have to install few applications, whatever required. Then we have to install that VDA agent with the help of ISO file given by the Citrix. And once VDA agent configured, then we are good to create the machine catalogs, and to publish machine catalogs, we can configure the delivery controller, right? So word to word definition is here. The VDA installed on each physical or virtual machine in your site that you wants to publish to end users, right? Whatever it could be, application or desktop. Okay, the word to word definition you can read, but the important thing, like, you will be able to answer in some typical way, like what is the task for VDA, right? So please do not try to remember the definition word to word, just understand the thing what VDA is doing, right? So in that way you will be able to answer a single question in multiple ways. Okay, so be prepared for it. So coming to the storefront server, in simple word, storefront, it is a web page for end user, right? So basically it is a web page for end user which is responsible to authenticate the credentials, right? So you can see it is the interface that authenticates users, manage application, desktop, and multiple things. Okay, so it is a web page, and to configure storefront, which server role is required? It is web server IIS role to create a storefront or a web page, right? So this is a basic definition of storefront. Coming to the next part, which is Citrix receiver or workspace. So basically, Citrix receiver or the workspace, it is a client application which we have to install on user's physical device, right? So basically, Citrix workspace is responsible to create a secure connection between end user device to our data center, right? So basically, it is an application which launch .ica file, and after that it will create a secure window for user session. So, and the port number which it is using, if we are on HTTP, it will use port number 80, and if we are on HTTPS, like SSL certificate if we are using, then it will use HTTPS, and the port number for HTTPS is 443, right? Coming to the next, studio. So as I told you, it is a GUI, means graphical user interface for data center. Like here, here is my studio. Nothing mentioned here like where is the delivery group, right? So it is a graphical user interface to manage the entire setup. Like with the help of studio, we can create a machine catalog, delivery group, we can publish the applications, policies we can configure multiple things. So the simple answer is that it is a GUI console. GUI full form is graphical user interface console, User can see what actions we have to perform. Means it is a visual console for us to perform the operations whatever required, right? So just it is a basic definition. You can read it out. It is a management console that allows administrator to configure and manage site and to give real access, time, data, broker agent, whatever it is mentioned, and it is using port number 80, right? So just remember it is a central management console with graphical user interface, right? So director, as I told you earlier, basically it is a web-based tool which is used to troubleshoot the uh, real-time issues for end users, right? If any machine is not getting power on, user is complaining like he's not able to log in, so those kind of issues we can perform with the Citrix director. Coming to the license server, so as per the term, license means it is responsible to allocate the license to every virtual machine. So if I'm talking about the virtual machines here into Citrix platform, that means I'm talking about the VDA, and VDA is responsible to register the machine with the delivery controller, right? So just suppose if we have got a license for 100 uh, or to create 100 virtual machines in our data center, so it will be delivery controller's job to register, to take care for 100 machines only. Means after 100 machines, license server will not allow us to create any additional machine catalog. Means we can create additional machine catalog, that is not a big deal, but it will not allow to launch that session, like that 101 session, right? So this is for an example. In production you will always get license for even more than 2000 or 5000 machines. Okay, so these are the core components: license server, director, studio, then workspace, storefront, then VDA, then database, then delivery controller, right? So apart from that, we still have few more additional components, and which are very important. First one is Citrix PBS services, like the full form for PBS is Citrix provisioning services, and with the help of provisioning services we can stream a single virtual drive to multiple target devices, right? So what are the target devices that we will cover, I will cover up in upcoming sessions. And also I have uploaded multiple videos for PBS as well, but I will let you know each and everything practically, right? So just forget about this PBS. Although I have created a PBS console here already, so this is my PBS console, right? But I'm not going to explain that part right now. So if I expand my form and into my device collections, right? So I have created two device collection. If I go to the virtual drive, right? So what I did, I have uh, created only one virtual hard drive, right? And I have installed one operating system in it, which is Windows 10. And what I did, I have published a single hard drive to, like, to multiple devices. Means in my case right now I'm having only two target devices. So what I can do, a single virtual drive I can publish up to 100 or to the 1000 devices, right? So in that way what we can manage, we are reducing the cost of hard drive or the physical drive. Why? Because we are just publishing a single hard drive to 1000 end users, or user will never know what is going on, right? So this is a technology actually in that way, because it will be easy for us to manage a single hard drive only. If we have to update something, we can update on single hard drive, and all user will get access to all the applications, right? So and PBS is a very old technology, right? It came into the market in 2008, I suppose. And PBS is very new. PBS has been not sorry, PBS was old. It was introduced in 2008, and MCS is very new. I think it was introduced in 2012. So I'm not getting the exact year when those was launched, but somewhere in that time only. Okay, so multiple organization is still using PBS services. Why? Because those are the faster services, reliable services, and hardware consumption are very low in for PBS. On other hand, hardware consumption are very high in MCS. Okay, so if you are working in some kind of small scale industry, over there you will get MCS. But if it is a huge infra, right, like the companies Infosys or TCS or any other, so over there you will get PBS only. And another important or additional means these are the optional part, these are not the core components, right? So another optional part is NetScaler gateway. So basically NetScaler gateway is a firewall and it is not mandatory to uh, use NetScaler gateway. Why? Because as I told you, it is a kind of firewall. So in organization, you will get multiple hardware firewalls or any other security firewall over there. So if you don't have, you can use NetScaler gateway. But if you already have any good configuration firewall from Cisco or from Fortinet or from any other vendor, you can use that firewall as well. Okay. Now coming to the machine catalogs. So what are the machine catalogs? I explained you guys earlier. Anyone can answer this? You guys are getting the definitions on your screen, so you can read one or two line, and after that you might get some idea, right?
Uh, Machine catalogs are collection of virtual or physical machines that you manage as single entity.
Right. So coming here into my studio, this is my machine catalog, right? So basically, it is a collection of virtual machines, right? So it could be a physical machine, it could be a virtual machine, right? So just suppose if I have to create a new machine catalog, then then click on next. So what we are getting here? Single session OS or multi session OS, right? And remote PC access. So those will be the virtual machine and remote PC access will be the physical machine, right? So it could be a collection of, it is a collection of physical and virtual machines both, right? So we have not configured any physical machine so far. So far we have configured only virtual machines, right? So I'm canceling this. So basically it is a collection of physical or virtual machines, and in production you will get thousand or even more than that machine catalogs in that single window, right? So in production it is quite hard to manage, not actually hard to manage, to identify, like, which machine catalog is configured for which user. Those kind of troubleshootings we have to perform. Why? Because just suppose if you are getting 5,000 machine catalog listed over there, right? And if I click on this machine catalog for an example, and what I am seeing here, like my those machine catalogs assigned to one user is HR and another user is that MS185426, right? So in production, you may get more than 5,000 users, right? So it not always, you can't do that. Like you cannot click on every machine catalog and you cannot, you have to see like to whom it is assigned, right? So there are the different ways to check this out. Okay. So now coming to the next. So basically, machine catalogs, if I talk about the types of machine catalogs, we are having three types of a machine catalog, right? First one for server OS machine, or we know this as a multi-session OS. And what are the server OS available? Like Windows Server 2016, 2012, 2019, 2022 is also in market. And apart from that, Red Hat from Linux and SUSE Linux from Linux, those are also a part of server machine operating system, right? So Citrix is also compatible with Linux operating system as well. Okay, right now we are working on Windows, but it can also work with Linux as well. Coming to a desktop OS, Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, 11. From Linux side, it could be Ubuntu, or I'm not getting any other name. It could be Ubuntu or any other Linux flavor. Okay. So these are the type of uh, desktop operating system machines, right? Another one is remote PC access. So for remote PC access, we can consider anything. It could be a server operating system, or it could be a desktop operating system, right? Because it is a physical machine. Just suppose if we have got any Linux flavor installed on it, so we can publish that as well. Okay. Now coming to the delivery groups. So with the help of delivery groups, we can easily specify like which application and desktop we have to publish to which user. That we have already did, right? We can, with the help of delivery groups, we can easily restrict a particular application or desktop to a particular user or group. Okay. Any doubt for delivery group? Coming to the applications group, application groups are also quite similar to delivery group. With the help of application group, we can easily restrict a particular application access to particular user. So let me show you from here. Delivery group we have already created. Coming to the applications, if I have published any application, okay, I have not published any application. If I click here to create any application group, let's see if it allow me without any. Okay, so right now I'm unable to create any delivery group, sorry, application delivery group. Why? Because I'm having Windows 10 machines only, and there is no server machine, right? So that I will let you know how to create a application group. But things are same like as we did in delivery group. We have restricted a particular access to particular user. The same we have to perform in delivery group, right? Now coming to the machine catalogs, right? So these are the scenario based question. Please do remember all those questions. What is machine catalog? Can we have single machine in two machine catalogs, right? That means what is machine catalog? That I already explained to you guys. It is a collection of physical or virtual machines, right? But if someone asks you, can we have single machine in two machine catalog? No, we cannot do that. Why? The reason is that if I am talking about the machine catalog, that means I'm talking about the virtual machine, right? So it it is never possible to merge two physical or virtual machines together to create a single machine, right? If you have to deploy two different type of operating system, you will be requiring two different hardware or two different virtual machines. So answer for this question will be no, right? Why? Because here are the my machine catalog, right? So when I create a machine catalog, it will automatically detect the master image what we have created, right? So what we can do, we can select only single master image to create a machine catalog. We cannot select two master images together to create a single machine catalog. It is never possible. Why? Because if one machine catalog is from server or another one is from desktop operating system, so you will be able to create only one. It could be a desktop, or it could be a Windows, not a desktop, or it could be a server operating system, right? So this is just for examples only what I'm showing, because right now there is no hypervisor connected here. Okay. So next question is that what is delivery group? Can we have single machine in two delivery group? So as I told you, basically delivery groups, with the help of delivery groups, what we can do, we can decide, or we can restrict any particular user to access a particular application or desktop. We can configure a single machine in two delivery groups. How? Because just suppose if we are publishing one application, and that application is running on Windows Server, right? So we have to publish that particular single application which is running on Windows Server to multiple users at a time, right? And multiple users can log in at the same time. So what we are doing here, we are creating one delivery group for multiple users. That means a delivery group using a single machine catalog, and we can create multiple delivery group to access that particular application or desktop. But the condition here is that that particular machine catalog is from server operating system only, not from the Windows desktop operating system. Got it? Why? Because in server operating system we can run the parallel sessions. And out. Okay, coming to the next. So how the policies are implemented through Citrix or AD, right? So question here is that how the policy is implemented means someone asking you in your organization how policies are being implemented means you are implementing policies through Citrix or through the Active Directory console, right? So, and also he's asking which is the best and effective method, right? So, as you can see here, there are two ways to deploy the policies for end users and computers. So, the most common way is Active Directory console means with the help of group policy object, we can uh, configure the policies for virtual machines or for users, right? And another way is to deploy policy from Citrix policy console here, where it is here, right? So it is always recommended to use policies from Microsoft Group Policy only, which is stored in Active Directory console. But for client device, like if like I am accessing, just suppose I am accessing Citrix console, right? And Citrix administrator wants me to restrict my local hard drive from my session. So for those kind of policies, we can deploy those policies for client device with the help of Citrix policy console, right? So I'm having only 1 minute left for this session. I'm terminating the session and I'm sharing new invite to you guys in a second. Okay.